Hello everyone, I'm Zufar Bikbov with Rusera Project from Rusera Studio in Watertown, Connecticut. I should mention, of course, that this is Thanksgiving week of 2023. And first of all, I would like to say thanks to all of you who stop, who watch, who paint, who create, who think about painting, sharing it with other people, creating beautiful art and making this life better inside and out. Also, I'd like to say thanks to my parents and to both countries where I got education, where I'm continuing education, and all life is learning something, and I'm sure you have the same attitude if you are here. Let's talk less. I put my pitch and explanation where the role of webinar through the whole system, what I can give you online and in live classes and a live in-person workshop in my studio. It's all at the end. Please listen through the whole video and you'll hear that at the end if you want. I highly encourage you to do a few steps. I think right now would be nice. If you're not subscribed to YouTube channel, do that. I'm not earning any money. I just see that people are watching, people are subscribing, and what I'm doing here, spending time and sharing this knowledge, there are some viewers for that. Okay, that's thing number one. Also, for those who are subscribed on zufar.com or rusera.com to newsletter or to webinars, they get a notification that webinar is coming, and not only that, not only a link of coming here, but also they are getting at times links to short videos which prepare them or you to these webinars. If you're planning to paint and kind of along and ask questions because you face this and that challenge during the session, you need to start prepared, okay? And that preparation will include at least preparation of surface, also drawing, you're getting a reference image, and also some explanations about palette. My palette most of the time is standard, but there is definitely will be some changes. Let's say if we paint the summer scene, we want to have extra yellow, like Indian yellow, which is not in standard palette, or different kind of green or different kind of blue. Maybe I want to go with the King's blue, or I think that we need to add zinc white in addition to titanium white. Subscribe. And also, if you can support my channel financially, even small tip would be also for me very much emotionally supporting. Link is down as well. So shall we start? Let's do it. Okay, let's start. I would like to speak less. I will just be saying what I'm doing, and if I start explaining why I do so, we won't be able to finish within an hour. From now enough. I want this relatively simple composition to be not maybe totally accomplished within an hour, but you know, this is, let's say, close to sunset, and within an hour light will be so different. If you're outside, you better finish within an hour a good amount. So this is not large canvas, but not tiny either. In the beginning, I'm using my bristle brushes. They're stiff enough. At the same time, yes, I don't think our surface is ready to start working with the softer synthetics. And none of them is tiny. So I will start with the background. I'll start with my the sky area. And in values, it's pretty close to what I want. So I will start with clouds here, I think, and then I'll change slightly color of the sky. Shall I have my medium extra here to be on palette? Yes, I need to have it there. That's a Galkid gel, but traditionally I'm starting using liquid medium. And here, mix of ultramarine blue, cadmium orange, and white. And it looks pretty not clear, pretty grayish mix. But that's exactly how I want it to be. Some clouds there are not blue. in most situations they're not blue. So maybe a small amount of alizarin. And value, I cannot say how good is this value. Again, remember that on these videos, what's happening is looks very, very, like our blues look very intense. All right, and I'll try to simplify. I'll add a little bit of warmth there. We're preparing surface, making it slightly more wet and smoother with the next layer of paint application. I think it looks like towards the bottom, this cloud looks not just lighter but also pinker. Try not to be much concerned with design of clouds. To improve the skill, you need to draw them more often. Okay, it should be slightly warmer there. If I kind of remove excess of paint, I may have that warmer layer on the bottom look through. So let's go with the sky. I can take another brush, or if I can clean it well enough, I may not need even a switch. So now we're creating cooler than just regular orange mix, and some brands make it yellowish, and I'm glad that Utrecht doesn't make it yellow. And since I need pretty good gradient here, and there are some clouds on the closer to horizon, I'm not going with pink yet. If I'm adding alizarin, this can be too strong pigment to fight with others, and it can really be too active. All right. So you see purple here is cleaner than purple here. So it's almost like a violet, but very light and gentle. Before I get there, let me work slightly in this area. And I cannot really see clearly. Let's go to this part. Yes, so you can see that here and here, it's darker here, more purple, and this area is almost like indefinite. So I can start mixing this and that together, adding some white, otherwise it turns to be darker. And I may leave some area where we have this edge of cloud highlighted. Not highlighted, but generally because of the transparency. Still want to put some paint on it, at the same time be accurate and try not to put too much paint there and not to destroy our initial drawing. When I say drawing, I mean lines, outline of the shape. That's what I mean when I say there's always temptation to start working and going to details. So there should be kind of good understanding and feeling how far you need to go at this stage. It doesn't mean that you should do nothing or leave a lot of areas which are need to be left unfinished. No, you need to have particular grade of finishing. So maybe I still will add some slightly cooler part here and slightly lighter. First layer can be darker and even warmer. That's okay. That's easy to correct with further paint application. And here it looks like a small amount of this. You see, I'm going to that trap. I don't think it's a big trouble. I want to add more colors. And I'm doing that because I know if I don't do it now, but I see it acutely now, why I want to kind of fix it. Why I would not fix it? Because I don't see other colors on my painting yet and values. They may accurate with this environment, but once we add more of the values down, this may look too light, which it will be okay. And of course, I'm comparing what I see here and what I have here on a reference, and I can really do it almost like one-to-one. But again, you see a reference on the screen. I don't have it right on my, I see it's on iPad, which is in the far distance from the painting. But I monitor and watch what you see because I want you to understand things. Okay, now our orange looks a little too orange, and why I want to correct it right away. I'm taking another brush, this pretty stiff brush, and now I'm not mixing my color into that one. Yes, alizarin with beautiful pigment, alizarin crimson. This one is slightly kind of more simple, more flat at the same time. It's more stable. That's what we want it for. As you see, I'm not really covering entire surface. Again, for first layer it's fine, but I can see some color effects here. And with the same brush, I'll go maybe with, it looks like just alizarin. It may look very close to what we need there. And if I add any blue, let me go a small amount of the, well, of cerulean, wiped excess of it, just to create the cloud here and there, because of the air in between us and these clouds. They may look different. It seems to be very active. But again, if this is a little too light, we always have our beautiful muddy, not muddy, but a grayish paint. Let's not destroy totally that purple thing. Again, it's easy to go to muddy colors. And if you feel that it's too cold or too off what we need, we always can add orange there, and that will remove that intense purplish shade. Of course, I can play with the shape of this cloud, and also since it's very soft, you can matter. You can always kind of like do almost gradient mixing paint on the edge. All right, that's good enough. Again, it looks not normal because again there is no bottom here. So shall I do those masses? I think if I take another brush, I can do that. Is it too important at this time? No, I'm actually thinking, going through thinking what colors and values should be of the water. And because there is some wind in the distance and those waves catch light from here, it looks lighter. But overall, the whole water, if it was calm, it would be slightly darker than the sky above it. So I can use the same, let me go back to my initial brush, to the same mixes. We'll add this more of a brown. And I can now, don't get scared if something looks not okay for you. I'm applying color, and I think there is really nothing wrong if we go pretty warm here on the bottom and darker in values. You see I'm using medium. I think I touched some yellow here. It still will be sort of underpainting. There are so many more layers gonna be on top of this. I will divide the whole water to 3 parts, kind of that part, this part in the middle, and this one. And it should be thin enough at the same time, it should stay wet by the time I apply all three of these layers. You'll see why. Okay, once we did the whole mass, it doesn't seem scary, isn't it? Still, we need more of this mix. Now it looks bluish. It looks too green. I mean too orange. Both pigments are not super strong, but strong enough. So it easily gets darker. But adding opaque titanium white solves this issue. Shall I go with more? I can really apply here less colorful paint, but in value slightly darker. That's the bottom. Okay. So now let's see what we have here on reference. So kind of working. I want my water to look more like this for the whole entire this area. So it's more of a pink, but not that colorful. It looks darker because there is a mix of these and this together. But overall, I can take less of alizarin, but working mainly with this, adding more of a white. And only then, if it's not enough, I'm adding, alizarin. And that should be sufficient amount of paint here. This looks still too dark. Let's just mix separately. If you're just adding paint, it doesn't help. Let's mix separately. And even color perception here is different. It looks very, kind of could be look too light. And then you put it on canvas, it looks very dark. We don't have darks yet on our canvas, and that is why the whole all the shapes which I'm applying now looks awfully dark, and that's absolutely okay. Again, it should be not tiny amount of paint, it should be good amount of paint. And we're kind of don't have to start and work on gradient immediately. You just need to make all this area pretty uniform, but we need to work fast. Why? Because this is a layer, and if anything's wrong, I mean, if we work long, sorry, this will settle. And for water, for this moment, it's not a good thing. What I will do, I will take my brush, I can take a smaller one and create that texture. What direction of the brush stroke should be? I think you can easily see on your reference how your waves go. They go kind of like both way, this way and that way. Mostly that way in the distance, and then they cross here because I think I'm standing on some, on some platform, and these are waves, bouncing of waves and changing direction. It won't be wrong if you will create most of your waves like almost horizontal, specifically moving away from your feet. So you can really go ups before you create each thread. You need to wipe your brush. So let me do that. Again, wiping your brush, you go thinner with your paint, which is absolutely fine for your first layer. Actually, a mandatory thing to do with first layer, to go thin enough. All right, looks like it's still quite lighter here than there. So what I can do, again, like if you were working with a long drying, like wet watercolor, I can take even another brush if I want. Say this one, take a little bit of medium, trying to get that layer thinner, exposing some transparency. Having sketch is a good idea, but we're not doing that for webinars. Definitely do that for classes. Again, we're mimicking work on plein air, and if you have your sketch with you on plein air, that's a great thing. Quite often we forget to do that, right? Okay, now I want to go to that area, okay? And now I'm looking very accurately what's really going on my reference. Since I'm going to lighter areas and maybe to cleaner colors, I need to have a brush which doesn't have much of browns on it or dirty muds. Again, so now let's still add small amount of alizarin. Again, it looks cooler in distance. We can do that later. For me, I'm trying to create a feeling how this water would look if it was absolutely calm. Okay. It looks a little too intense for orange. And again, there is no, what I like about distance, there are no need to do waves, deal with those directions. And even though you see again very cool in color-wise, temperature-wise, cool ripples, it's fine. If you don't look at the reference overall, so this is sky, this is reflection, just try to abstractly look at it and spread your paint. This underpainting, it could be corrected overall, and again, more important that we have accurate values. With sky, it's nice if we are kind of like more accurate overall, but still we'll need correction. And here, values, and then later some texture will give us feeling that this water is water. It's flat. Because on water there are pretty much no cast shadows, and these boats are in this hazy like afternoon or evening hour. They don't have much like light on them. We're looking almost like against the light in contre-jour effect. And I would say the sun is just like above us and it's hidden by cloud. All right, what we're gonna do right now, boats could be tricky. Let's wait slightly, like at least a few minutes when this area kind of settles around, and I will work on these bigger masses in a distance. So we have about 20 minutes passed, and I should say not much accomplished. Still working with my, maybe if you go with a number 2 brush, that would be fine as well, but I'll try to work with this one. You know what, if you're good at drawing, you may go with a thicker paint, slightly more. I think I put too much of medium. I'd probably rather go with the gel. But in values, it's a distant thing. It's definitely cooler, but light enough. I'm afraid that this paint application will make it a little too dark. Actually, not too bad. It's very important that at the end, this cloud and those distant trees have different colors and values. Because if it's very similar, that could be a problem. At least, again, on my, these blues here look more intense than what I see in reality. So, but since you don't see how it looks in front of me, what you see is on the screen. I'll make it warmer for you. I'm adding small, tiny amount of even a yellow ochre, but I'm not really applying it over the whole surface. I'm just adding it, and I'm going to see, what do you see there? Yes, that color doesn't look much blue now. And again, it's different from cloud, which is nice. So now it's time to do work on these trees, and these are, and like those ones, there are some pines, mainly in Maine, and so they're greenish, and because of haze and the light, which is warm here, and they look pretty. It's not greenish, but exactly looks like yellow ochre added there. So let me continue this line, and now I'm going to add to my mix of gray. We need to give special name for this gray, like noble gray. Not that simple. And then I see here what was the value, and then don't want to right now add a yellow ochre. We'll add it along the way. Okay, maybe it's too dark. All right, and maybe a smaller brush would be a not bad idea. At the same time, you know, if you do the same movement as I do, I pretty much well creating needed shape. All right, looks very different from what we have in our reference. At the same time, it's just because of sharper edges. So let me add a small amount of yellow ochre to the side, which immediately creates greenish shade, and start adding it there, and should add white. Otherwise the mix turns darker. Again, I'm not totally everywhere adding that yellow ochre containing mix. Specifically bottom, you see, because of you need to kind of be able to see things as they will look after some corrections, like adding softer edges, and it's very difficult. So you can squint, maybe that can help. All right. Since I'm going to work over the sky again, so I'm not really much concerned that if now we have soft edges, I can make it sharp. Most important, you need to keep your edges sharp, whatever you need it, but it doesn't have to be all the time right from beginning. It can be added later. Okay, I'm pretty satisfied now. It looks cooler than on reference, and we usually go warmer, but if I go warmer, I very likely will lose that distance feeling. Again, I'm concerned with values at this moment. All right. Okay, we're at 25 minutes mark with our paintings, and I think right now we need to deal with these trees in a distance. I mean, a closer ones, not in far distance. I don't have it on my reference, the whole mass, but you have some sort of experience, of course, being able to do that. The most important, we have those separate couple of spruce trees or pines here, and then I will treat this as a whole mass without any openings in between. Also, we have pretty significant reflection here, and we have some reflection there as well, and I just noticed that. It's good actually to take a break, like a couple of minutes, but let me keep going. Again, despite of the ripples in distance, there's definitely a reflection is going on here. is happening here. And is reflection going to be warm? It's really very close in a valley because of the angle is very, like, we look almost parallel to the water surface, and there is less of absorption, and again ripples crossing, reflection makes it so small. But anyway, some of the light get absorbed, and then we start seeing a little bit more of the water under, and water in Maine, it's Atlantic, is greenish. Again, it's all shifted here because of the light is not like day, midday light. So, and because of many waves, sometimes even distance this looks a little lighter. Okay, so don't worry about the shape they are now, but I'm more now need to be accurate with outline of these trees because I'm going with a darker paint, and then to paint over it will be a challenge. So more of yellow ochre, a little more of a ultramarine blue, and this green looks pretty perfect. It's nothing of any cool greens. Olive green may work. Maybe we'll add it later. What I want to do here is to apply paint and see how it looks. Does it look too cold? I mean, some areas are cooler, some areas are warmer. That's okay. And where I need warmer, adding more of a yellow ochre. Say those lit areas here. I love these sharp tips. Surprisingly, shadows, because it's haze, don't look warmer. They look, I mean, I don't see much of the cooler parts on these trees. Just they're pretty neutral. And shadows, yeah, they're brownish. You know, I think we need to also right now put some line of rocks which are covered by seaweed, and I cannot call them, I don't see them being like violet or something. Definitely there's present. I can go with one color now, and then smaller darker areas we can add later. So in valley, definitely this should be darker than that part. It should be more detailed overall than that one. That part looks solid, and that one doesn't really show any shadows there. One solid mass. And here I am counting some part. Let me add some raw sienna instead of yellow ochre. And I'm trying to find right color. It's not really so clear what's that, but definitely there are some waves. But under those tiny waves, looks like pretty dark. And if you cannot say what exactly color is there, most likely you'll need to paint it with several colors, and then your several different brush strokes will create that feeling of complex color. You cannot say it's green or purple. It probably has everything. And right now it might be not the time of doing this all. Also, you see that overall length or height of reflection is much more than I do in here. We did some compositional changes, so we kind of put our boats more under the closer to the shore. This looks a little strange for reflection again, very short, but that's not the problem, and I'll explain you why. Same thing we'll be doing with boats. Okay, before we take a break, I definitely want to outline these boats, and I need to take, at this time, probably smaller brush. It should be stiff enough. Let me find one. It could be synthetic as well if it's stiff enough, or the best, of course, would be if you have, yes, something like a bristle. Any smaller brushes, they have shorter hair, so they kind of like more, they're more rigid. I think I have found one. This is actually a rigid brush. I think it's a Tuscan series, doesn't matter. So it's synthetic, but not the soft one. And it looks like Kalinsky, but it's not. So you see, we have so many grayish colors there, and that's okay because we're dealing and we're dealing with all of them, and we're comparing one to another before we apply it on canvas. I want to mention that, let's say specifically with this boat, you see how bluer it is because it's white and it's light and it's shadow side. That is why it's cool. And for these trees, you can see here, they are much darker, but they are in distance. So the value is not that dramatically different. If you put them together, you'll see it. And if we look at this original, of course, difference is visible because of edges, much more strikingly impressive. So I will definitely go with bluer colors, but make sure you don't go with a light. And of course, don't go with very intense blue either. So it's pretty gray color at the same time. It's visibly cooler. All right, and again, since it's different, you can of course add a little bit more of a color to it if we want. Now I'm not going with my solution medium, going with gel. So that side which turns, side of the boat which turns towards the water, it could be not just darker, it's definitely looks warmer. All right. And similar thing, in a distance, that warmer may look more pinkish, like cooler pinkish. That is why I go with alizarin. And we have here, I think I lost my drawing again, sketch would be helpful. So you had reference, you could do sketch. Next time I'll remind you to do sketch. I'll be struggling without sketch because sketch part will be part of the class. But no matter which way you chose to learn, so I want you to be successful. So as you've seen, these lobster boats, they're wide because I think they are not river boats, but the ocean boats, they need to be stable on water, even if they're of smaller size. Okay, and there is a far boat. Even though I kind of looks like mixed pretty thick paint, I'm still applying it sparingly, and I'm adding medium because I'll need to work around this, and even on top of this, I want it to be dry enough. Sometimes boats don't need all details in there, but outline is very, very important. So let's go to this part and let's try to understand how things are here going. We don't want to have a lot of corrections. Again, should not really care much about overall shape. And again, just will mark that we have this top And this side is also over the top deck of the boat. And main outline we'll be doing painting ocean around, so we can create whatever sharp edges we want there. Okay, as I mentioned, we want that boat to be part, possibly, right? But it's distant, even though it looks dark. I'll make it light enough. I'm just adding, melting in extra color. So it should not be any detailed thing, but something. Those boats look dark, those tiny ones. You see it's a different ones. Do I need to mark them? Yes, I don't want to put that on top of thicker paint. I'd rather go around it. And again, color becomes less definite, and they're darker boats, so they don't have much of a white on top of it, so there's less of a blue. I can mark them like this. Okay, over thin paint it still goes okay. And then let's do their kind of reflection part. You can even do it as one. And now you can see quite clearly here. So this reflection, the reflection is much darker. It's may look bluer, but it's really not. It's, for me, it looks more purplish. So I can go and create it like this. Again, I'm not doing all those extensions of waves. You'll see why. Same thing is here. You can even see that this, because of water is greenish, looks like it has tiny amount of green. I don't think going with a straight green would be not a good idea. We always can add somewhere, like some waves if we want, very cautiously. Some greens later. It'll be, I don't think it will be all plain green. So now reflection looks like in values accurate. Right, that's good enough. So what do we need to do with those boats in a distance? And shall I do this water line? It's not a problem. I think we can go with water line now. So now let's find complex, muddy, but still bluer and slightly lighter color for black sides of boat in the distance. And I'm not even doing much separation. I just will, of reflection, just will make it slightly softer. Okay, are we doing anything with this boat? Yes, you see on top, and like in the windows, the details. It has some warm part, but otherwise it's pretty indefinite color. And in value, I'm doing it, making it light enough, and no sharp edges actually either. So I want kind of like a presence of many boats in that area. I don't want to make them a lot, so but 5 will be good. And it looks like there is the same distance between this boat and that boat, but the thing is that there are 2 boats here. More of a blue. Okay, let's see them both, if I want them to be like that. So now distance can be broken. Yeah, that looks good. So let's take some break, and then I'll be back to re-evaluate. We are at the mark probably close to an hour, and our blocking part is done. And we can start working with a thicker paint application, but we need to come back with a refreshed mind. So now I will answer your questions. So write them down while I'm reading some of them, which are already probably there. Rush to write them down, and then those questions will be answered after that. Maybe I'll answer it in comments. I want to make this painting session shorter than the previous one and to have it as one session, if possible. We'll see. Okay. So I'm glad that you are all, like almost 30 people have been together and watching this on Thanksgiving evening, and it's after having dinner, after maybe taking a walk, playing and talking. You must be all awfully tired. I'm I came prepared, so I did some pre-recording, and I'm looking at questions. I don't really see much questions. So people are, you folks are tired. Anyway, I'm very grateful that you're here. You're very dedicated to learning. So repeating and saying over and over. So this is kind of like a watershed between first layer and second layer. And taking break even more often, maybe once in 15 minutes, is an important thing. I just didn't want to break my videos to many parts. So you can stop this video now or just use the bathroom, whatever. Talk to someone. Just don't check Instagram or something, because your mind will go somewhere away from your painting. And don't listen to news as well. So just have something visually pleasant and quiet. Looking to the window, something smooth, and something like listening to smooth jazz, having some tea or water, maybe some wine. I'm not really much recommending, but it could be relaxing. Then you come back. So no questions. I checked my live chat. So ask your questions then later in your kind of comments area. If you come up with them, I know listening and going through this, it's even when I was listening, my broadcasting here also, I was getting almost like falling asleep if I'm not painting. I hope you do. Okay, are you ready to see part 2? And I think I will be watching questions. I'll be in live chat, but after this part of video is over, I will automatically it will go like on pause. So this broadcast will be over, and then, as with the previous video, I will do recombine and take like better quality video, because through broadcast there is some limits of the quality based on the broadband, whatever speed of internet. And it's, even though it's amazing, but still not perfect. So have better quality video than with ending with those few words, which I will be adding hopefully like tomorrow. All right. So I enjoy part 2, and I will see you next week. And before that, you'll receive my email if you are my subscribers. So I put all links down in the description of the video to subscribe to this channel, to emails, and also if you want to do some financial support of me for doing this video, it's also actually feels very good, even if it's like $5. All right, so all links are below the video. But for now, let's see part 2. I just looked at our time. We're just at a little over 40 minutes mark. So we're not hour yet, and I have good hope that in an hour we'll have pretty decent view, and then if you want to stay a little bit longer, we will work more. So what exactly I'm going to do now, you see there is no any more dry canvas left. Everything's covered with oil paints, and I need to start working with my thinner brush, because I don't want to destroy my lower layers, or just like one layer so far. And I would start working now on darks. So let's say I would kind of keep working with this kind of boats, and then I would start going towards this area, this area, this area, this area, and then so on. At the same time, water, again, is a challenging object here. It will require at least a couple more layers. And Outline and position of boats are fine. I'm not going to do any corrections to that. Again, mimicking our situation of plein air. If anything was terribly wrong, let's say I moved boat too close, or this is kind of like looks off, I would do that. But right now, after break, after looking at it again, I see it doesn't require much correction. And let's look at the view again. That's our main reference. Maybe this is main reference because we use it much longer. I want to work on water. And then if I'll need to do addition on water, I'll do that closer towards the end. That's my plan. And then somewhere in the middle, I'll be working with the boats. I see this part, that boat looks too blue and too dark. I will correct that, and the problem there is just sharper edges. If I make it softer, let's say even if like I will smudge it and make with my fingers, it's not going to be that awfully bad. So let's work on water. Challenging subject of today's session, and I'll be working with number 4, synthetics, or some very soft bristle. That should be okay as well. Let me see. So these are bristles. Yes, I got one. So this will be my synthetic. It's number 4, and it's softer one. And then I'll be using also number 2, which is synthetic as well, and it feels like Evergreen by Rosemary. So for when we paint water, we can go with a filberts. Doesn't have to be flat. And I don't really like bright short. Short flats, and because I think we can apply less pressure with a longer hair. Oops, looks like for my webinar I did not turn on a recording button, but you could see some changes in the sky area. I decided that first I'm going to work on sky and water. And sky, I think I can do in one shot now from this point, but for water I'll need to have multiple applications. Since water depends on sky, I try to find right colors, and as you can see on my palette here, which I cleaned before this stage of working on second top layer, and it could be top 2 layers, 3 layers, but for sky it's just 1 layer. You can see that I mixed something very grayish, many colors here, and they are very subtle orange, very subtle pinks, and of course alizarin for pink, orange is for kind of a light orange, and I'm working with a soft brushes, synthetics, this number 4, and bristle. I mean, filbert would work well, not bristle, and flat is fine. Flat and give me a more accurate and sharp edges if I need it somewhere. Also, I added on edge here, you see, shift towards more of an orange, because I think this overall light is orange, but we cannot paint it shining, so we create that color shift, kind of creating feeling of this light from the sky wrapping around the edge, and that gives feeling of the glow. Again, shape might be not accurate. I added some green here as well, and I think overall sky values are very close to what I want. And we are not even at 1 hour since we started, or getting close to that, and I think I worked what you didn't see, like maybe for 10 minutes. We'll see where will we end, like at 1 hour from starting painting, and how much time it will be needed. Let's not forget, this is sort of mimicking of plein air session. So let's work fast, and let's not care much about details, but getting values and outlines accurate, at least for the boats, if possible. So I want to finish my paint application for the sky, so I'm going with small amount of lemon, cadmium lemon, and I'm creating these areas of bright light because the sun is right over us. and should not be absolutely uniform. I think with a thicker paint application now on top of my layer which I just applied, it looks pretty accurate. There is no source of light which gives absolutely strong direction. And again, we can talk more about composition, but again, if you will get right on site nice feeling of the edge of the cloud, then you can redesign your cloud at home, or if you want to come to the same spot and paint right on site another day, it's absolutely fine. I want to make kind of a nice feeling of glow right from this area. There is no any specific kind of glow on water. That's also another signal why we're not really, that we're not having any bright light source over there. Okay, it's pretty cool, at least on our reference, and I want you to see some sort of relevance between our reference image and what we have on our canvas. Right, less talking will help me to slightly speed up. Okay, it's too much work on design. I don't really want to spend our precious time for that. If you were outside, that definitely would be precious, because of usually the problem is that the light is leaving us, changing. We don't want to paint from memory, which is like a reference image sitting in our mind. We can do that at home, right? Right, so what's next? So now I think it's time for water, and what I want to do to define that area better, not in terms of the value, because value is pretty accurate, but in terms of color. And I can try to go with the green here, adding it and creating kind of muddy color. Since we have there a lot of blue already, let me shift it towards a warm. I don't think it's really in the middle, goes towards the any pink or purple. I think that's better. And value-wise, I think we are slightly off. Also on the bottom, next to water, looks like there is some shift. And I cannot really see that. Is it shift towards the, which color is that? And I cannot see that because of, on our painting we have too much of a warm orange color. Let's make it cooler. And again, now we can really make those feeling of those waves in the distance show up. And as you see, it's made with a pink mainly and bluish gray. That's how it's created. It's trying to spread our paint evenly, even though of course sometimes clouds are sitting there and really makes one part of the water reflection, let's say yellow, another part could be, I don't know, like greenish or bluish, but not this is not the case, and most of the time it's not the case. I still don't want to totally cover that orange. It's a moderate amount, in smaller amounts, it's still present over there. And now I'm getting close to the boat, I may outline it slightly better. I'm working with a smaller brush just because I'm working in quite a delicate area, and already trying to create at one shot that feeling of waves. Also remember, once we get to reflection part, that reflection should be absolutely vertically down from the object. If it's not like that, it can cause dizziness, or it can cause a permanent problem of not being able to hang painting straight. That happens as well. Okay, now let's go to the area where there are ripples closer to this object, kind of break all this reflection. Overall, I think colors of this reflection is good. I can make more of a green and darker. I mean, it's dark enough, more of a green to this area. And it feels like glow itself is almost kind of yellowish, which is spreading in that area. I'm sure there is like opening of the sky there and the sun beams to that area, but not close to us, not towards us. So let me get accurate value for that glow. That's bottom. So good that the paint, even though it's settled, if I press slightly more, I can lift it. And it's not just yellow, some pink I'm sure is there. So remember working with a complex color. That's time for it, not right in the beginning, but now it's time for it. And now let's break that reflection. That pink color, it's purplish and pinkish. It's definitely not one color. There is pretty much nothing is made of one color in real world. Your blue house in real world, when it's sunlit, it has reflexes, green ones, blue, which is shining, and it has probably some reddish parts as well. So that's how it breaks. And also we're getting close to that part. I think I made the value a little too late. It looks like some sparkles in that area. Cannot make it just with gray color. We need to add some yellow and orange without dragging paint. I mean dragging on top, but without mixing it with any grays under. Just need to situate those brush strokes and paints close, and maybe like move it further towards the ocean. All right, and adding more of a white, because sparkles at a distance maybe not that intense as the kind of like all this area, but gonna be bright enough. Some brush strokes will be. All right. So looks like more of some pink in this area. It's like, I think it's part of the glowing effect. And also now our boats look way too dark. So now we can see what the value we need to achieve to make them look accurate. And of course there are some, can go like a, because that color is really anything super important. Adding a small amount of whatever color is there. Again, reflection should be right under. I think I need to add a small amount of blue on top of them, because I think this is too light. When I say blue, it should be gray with a more definite blue part spectrum. It's too warm, adding some other colors. So that is why I have smaller brush here at this time, at this moment. All right, I don't think I'll need to come back to that area if I'm really feeling that this should be there. Let's do this little rocks formation in front of the island. This blue looks too blue, so let's add a couple of orange dots, maybe some different color right on the edge. And it's now slightly better. Okay, now with a soft brush, I can do some extension of my reflections. In front, I think we're getting more of a green visible, but it should be accurate value. Shouldn't go crazily darker or like too much of intensity. So nice if this paint under is still wet, we can kind of melt it in. And also here I need to correct shape of the boat. Of course, let's say this water line looks like a detail. At the same time, it's quite important detail. I don't want to have a boat without water line. It kind of shows where exactly this boat is sitting. So let me add it, and it's pretty dark. And it has some color distribution. So I'll go with the burnt umber. I'll add some green into it, and we'll make it brownish green. So with this shape, and on one side, especially top, it's usually kind of a reddish. Often there's an additional line, could be. It's a reflection as well, if any. Also, if I want to do waterline for other boats, and maybe like even it's their main part, depending on distance from us, it can be lighter. Shouldn't be the same. It doesn't have to be like with huge color variety. There will be color variety. There's one boat behind another one. Let's push it back. You're not trying crazily with all details. Okay, so how about reflection of this boat in water? Yes, let's add it. And I think it's good time now to work on these all reflections, because once I go with a thicker paint application on the water, I will be able to correct overall extension of these reflections on smaller waves. So I'm cleaning my brush with solvent, but I'm using gel. I think it will hold overall paint better when I go with whites around it. And again, don't forget, it's plain color. We need to go with some variation with warmer greens and with olive, even with olive green and cooler ones. Some almost like a brownish burgundy. Of course, you can go with this small brush and paint the whole painting, but really don't want, and we cannot really do that because we just don't have enough time for that. And it's also so restrictive. So outside we go with a loose manner. Again, even without any details, try to switch your brain from copying to recreating in real condition of limited time. I think, yes, I definitely will need to go over this area again. And I have this olive green, and I will work with a warmer version of it. Or I can go with a cooler and adding enough, let's say burnt sienna. Oh, way too dark than I wanted. It's a distant object. We don't need any sharp edges there, even though it's not that dark as, not that far as those trees here. Still, and on video it looks awfully dark. You can add even orange here somewhere to make it look warm and lighter, because orange color, orange cadmium is opaque paint, definitely lifts dark values. All right, so what's next? Before I work with water, I think I will finish now darks. I was hoping that I'll work on water, then on boats, but again, I'm re-exploring with you and right on the go, trying to define what works best. And it feels now that it works best if we do boats now. All right, and here, now I see there is a glow on the left side. That's where the sunlight is coming, not from this area. So, but you know what? I really think by the time like 1 hour passed, sun will be exactly here when we work on this part. So maybe too much of brown. Definitely we'll do some outline here. It's hard to say what is there. Adding even green where you would not expect it. But definitely it's not a bad idea. So here I see purple. I see like jumping, adding color here and there. I'm just kind of getting ready for, again, a bigger paint application, working on the flat surface, looking flat. And that will be not a very simple task. There is really nothing which is very simple. Everything requires a lot of attention, consideration, and attention, consideration, and application. right way. Because sometimes you understand things, but you don't know what to do with that information, how helpful that could be. All right, so this looks too cool, and we have plenty in the sky of warm colors, and of course some blue comes. Maybe like I work on it like this, adding maybe a little bit of pink, and some maybe windows are open. I mean, the glass windows will help light to pass. Okay. And here, are we going to do anything here? I want to make that prominent. So first, I want to make it quite horizontal. I don't want to have any feeling that which pulls attention. So if you think that this view really worth a class, please put in comments that you would you need to think like, if this class did exist, would I take it? So I need to know. Sorry, my brush just fell down. Looks like I'm tired. Maybe it's time for the next break, but it's Thanksgiving Day. I don't want to break this class for 2 parts, honestly. All right. Does it help me to see better top of this front boat? No, it doesn't. I need to do with my, well, I have smaller brush to create a feeling of a sharp edge. And I'm going with cold red and trying to go with cooler greens as well. And there is a connection here. Looks very strange shape for the boat, but again, it's like it's like symbiotic, so they together create a structure, and it's lively. If you separate them, it's not going to work. That's how I feel. All right. There definitely should be slightly some suggestion of water line there, and something we need to do with those boats in the distance. Again, here value is a key. Make it a little too dark and too sharp edges, and then it's gonna jump in front of you. Even though on photograph it's pretty dark, I need to find on my own how to keep those objects in a distance. Like that, I think works pretty well. I'm going to work on these balls. I don't think it will be like on my way too much. Let me just finish water. And if you want to kind of get distracted slightly from the water and feel kind of it's too scary to start doing it right now, let's maybe work a little bit more on the sky part. Make it less pulling attention, at the same time to make it dynamically more exciting. If we can, we'll try. Just softening parts. It looks like I want to make it lighter and warmer. Still looks crazily blue. I still trying also preserve that glow effect right on the edge. Can I go with slightly different blue? Why not? It also looks crazily blue. No. Maybe just some parts require this attention, but not the whole area. If there is a cloud, the lighter it should be, so it would pass more of a light through it, through itself. And it feels like two parts of the same size compositionally. It doesn't really look attractive. Okay, slightly better, right? So now I think value darker looks good. There is again no blue, much of as we have in that reflection of something in the water. So what I will do, I will add somewhere maybe that blue, but not that much. I will start using my mixes here, and I'm using now not even orange, but burnt umber, and making it grayish with addition some green into it. And green not to the whole mix, but to the side. If value of this is good, and I think it looks good, I will do with it part of my lower part of my painting. And when you go from right to the left or from the left to the right, mostly your sky reflection should be very even. I understand again we have sun position here and there. We can do that with sparkle. We need to have, let's say, it's quite symmetric. When you're outside, of course, you can really work like with this, like a dry brush. If you're happy with this color, that's fine. If you are going to work on like complete painting, of course, you will need to have more than one layer of paint. You will want most likely. Remember these waves going this way and that way. So you need to find direction. Overall, the whole composition spreading this way, and I think putting waves as like with a smaller brush strokes across its direction, it's not a bad idea. And then further, it turns to be slightly lighter because of just optically there is angle is different, and this different angle will reflect more light, so we do not see that much of a darkness. I tried to create with a dry brush here this reflection. This may work. If our first layer was thicker, we could probably do this thin layer on top of it, and that would be it. That would be sufficient. And while you're painting outside, that's quite often is sufficient. That would be absolutely okay. That's how I feel. I think overall color of this water, it looks compared to reference a little too reddish, but sky, yes, like in this area it's glowing, so it could be reddish. Let's mute it down slightly and try to do it accurate if possible to what we have there in our reference. Okay, let's keep going to red, Let's add blue, and also, and when it's too red, you don't always have to kill it with, just get rid of it. If it's that too red is just a little bit of extra red, but the value is accurate, you can always put next to it a greenish brush strokes, and you'll be all set. Same thing with orange. If there is some orange and you see that it's just too much, but the value is accurate, just put there more of a maybe kind of like grayish purple color, and you can, this way you can fix the issue. Looks like a little bit of yellow won't hurt. All right, and of course, when you have that shift in value, much darker, let's say, shape, we need to think about, is there any color in between them, especially between a very bright object which has a glowing capacity and quality, and one which is just very dark. Definitely will be some glowing effect. So I think to work better on this reflection, let me just take my smaller brush, load it well with paint, and especially when we go over like a dark areas, create these shorter broken lines. Sometimes it works great, sometimes it's not that easy to apply. Each brushstroke should be unique. At the same time, they should be uniform as well. So I think it matters maybe of a distance between them. All right, and let's look at our reflection here. Do I want to extend that reflection further? I think it's absolutely not a bad idea. Adding red and green, olive green together, will give me some color which I need in this area. Let's give some direction for these waves. I think we have some issue here with the shape, which should not be a big concern. It's hard to say where one boat stops, where the second one starts. Just make it like this. Push slightly. I can work more, of course, on this right reflection of this far, those distant woods, and this and that. It depends. Do you see that or not? You don't always have to do that. And the most upsetting things when you are dealing with a shape, if this is your study, draw it. If you can draw it and now you're kind of neglecting its accurate shape, it's fine. It's not going to be your perfect painting, but it will be a perfect studying color study. All right. So looks like if I pull here a little bit more of attention with some sharper edges, we can be pretty close to wrapping up this painting session. And of course here I can also add, I think a bigger brush would be more helpful. Small one gives little waves. And of course we go with the values darker still, you see, extending them. And now I can really suggest there is some other type of sky right on top of us, but overall the whole valley is dark. So let me work on these details, because this side I did not even touch. I like that it has uneven presentation, even though the edge of the boat could be smooth enough, but there are some highlights and other things from the sky can get reflected, creating that uneven feeling. Am I going with blue or purples? No, I'm going in fact with greenish colors. We'll add red. Then you decide you want to go with cooler green, warmer green. Cooler green I think would be quite appropriate, and then you warm it up because it doesn't look towards the sky. And why? Because of water is greenish, and this side of the boat looks towards the water. Can be more, if you're skillful working with a bigger brush, that's fine. I mean, that would be even great. That's fine, that's perfect if you can do that. I don't want to risk of doing some mistakes. This is a little too straight, again chasing shape, which I shouldn't do, but at the same time I want to show you that I see this mistake, yeah, and I want to correct it. Okay, there is always something hanging on side of these boats, some gear, some whatever, nets. Always. And that's just a matter of, again, feeling satisfied with those few brush strokes which reflect shape and let viewers' imagination to finish. Of course, you cannot really feel for other people. You just kind of feel how you feel. That makes your art unique. You feel that this is enough, you stop here. At the same time, you need to be happy with your painting. If you feel that this is not enough, this is bothering you, I think maybe it's a little too early to say the painting is over, is done. Painting still calls you to finish. With experience, you'll understand when you have a true call and when you have a false call. Like you need to define kind of goals. I was trying to explain you what I was trying to reach here, and even with that, with explanations, I'm trying to give you more and more, and that's could be a mistake. I shouldn't do that. Maybe you tell me. Leave me in comments that something which I'm in doubt, shall I or shouldn't do. All right, we're done with this boat well enough. What is missing is these woods. I think I'll take number 2 brush, and again, working not with one color, we're working with at least 2, and then higher is, I mean, the closer to the end of the painting. So we're including a bigger amount of colors, like 3, 4, if you see them, if you can do that. If you don't see, you do whatever you can, whatever you see on site, and then look at your painting and compare it to other artists' paintings, and then you may see like, oh, I could do this better. So I see now what's my painting is missing. That will be absolutely fine. Again, that's an educational point. think. All right. Shall I maybe do a few peaks here? Tops. Of course, extra break would be pretty good idea. We just don't have a luxury of time of doing so. So I want to say that I'll leave your questions because I'm going to wrap up this session pretty like without going through questions, but will, as last time, many questions came after. And I'm very happy to see and greet you all who came to a live session, specifically on this Thanksgiving night. So I'm very thankful to your loyalty to art and learning. Okay, after some break, I will find something to correct in this painting, but right now it looks a pretty decent one. Everything which I was willing to accomplish here under a limited amount of time, which is of course a way more than 1 hour, we did. Okay, foreground. I'll keep doing and watching. There is like green. You start seeing color of the water when it's close to you because of the angle of observation. Drop angle. And of course, if you have it on one side, you need to kind of like show, it's not reflection, show that's the water on another side as well. Because angle here and here are pretty much the same. So adding green makes some good difference. That's it for now. What's the concept of these webinars? First of all, I would like to show you that I also struggle, and that's genuine struggle because I paint this view first time. Even though I painted something similar before, but every time things are different. Light is different, values are different, humidity is different, whatever, different arrangement of clouds, etc. So I'm pretty honest there, not showing that I cannot, or it takes longer time for me to solve it. Second thing, I get better understanding. Do I want this view to be painted on a bigger canvas? If I'm working here today on 12 by 9, I may go in next time to paint 24 by 24. Or I can do a class, or I can do master painting demo. Two other things I will need to invest more time, efforts, and I want to know from you if you think this is worth doing master painting demo, which is about all total about 3 and even more hours of work, including composition analysis and painting on a bigger canvas. And as if I do class for that, that will involve all 4 steps: sketching, study, like and plein air, then working deeper on composition, and also working on a canvas which is 16 by 12. I think going and do the recording in studio with this, I think, very refined design of the look on the screen, 20 by 16 will be a little too big and it will be too long. The principles are the same. You're just taking a little bit different brushes. And again, if you would like to, after watching video, still kind of like have a feeling how much paint to take, how to mix it, etc., etc. So to see things closer, to see it not from the front but from the back, and also to feel my hand and see my hand, how I do it, how I mix things, what's really cannot be shown everything during these webinars or even MPD classes. You come and study with me in my studio. It should be not long lodging if you're coming from out of state, or maybe you're coming to Connecticut for holidays, for wedding. Dedicate one day to study with me. I'm very flexible with dates unless I'm traveling. So winter, most of spring and fall time, I'm flexible. So you'll be able to contact with me and do a VIP class or workshop, I'd rather say. It's one day for 2 people. It's more pricey than the workshop. At the same time, you'll get 4, 5, 6 more times more attention from me. Plus, you'll be, I don't know, probably 20 times closer to Canvas and see everything. So I'm just announcing that because that needs to be part of my program, and a number of people already expressed interest in that. So I need to explain things. I will do a video right now. I'm working on easels to have a triple easel, basically 3 easels sitting next to each other with support for palette on the same level. And 2, my students should have equal, absolutely situation, so they friends will stay friends. And so it's same chairs, same set of brushes as I have, same everything, and all supplies provided. So if you travel, if you're on the way to Maine, or you came to Boston and driving to New York, you can stop for a day in Connecticut and learn with me. That will be at least 6 hours of study. I'm taking about 3 hours for me to paint and 3 hours to explain things. Of course, lunch in between. We can start earlier, we can start later. It could be any day of the week, probably except of Thursday. If I continue doing and publishing webinars on Thursday, I want to be available. If you want to stay with me in studio, maybe you could be a guest of my studio, and I will take an interview from you. So there are many exciting news, and most important, if we are able to do that together. So your participation, your interest is very important. That's all for now. I think we had a pretty good session. Leave comments, leave your feedback, leave your questions. If you had no chance to watch it, or you watched again and found there is a mistake or more questions came to your mind, so please, let's communicate and explain how it works for me, what benefits I get from this as well. So happy Thanksgiving. Thanks to you all, and see you next week. We'll stream next webinar on Thursday. And before that, you will receive an email with me with the prep videos, reference images, and a link to new session. Goodbye.